Hello there, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a good break. And welcome to this online Psych 370 course at Ferris State University, which will cover the principles of learning. My name is Dan Boyle. I'll be your instructor for the course. So what you're watching here is basically an orientation video that I wanted to make to introduce you to the course, to walk you through the syllabus, to show you how things are set up in Canvas, and basically give you a good sense of how the course is going to work and how you can be successful in it. So I hope to answer most, if not all, of your questions about the course during this video. But please, if you do find yourself with questions or concerns, do reach out and let me know. Now, the best way to get in touch with me is to send me an email. So I've given you my email address right here at the top of the syllabus. It's just my name, Dan Boyle, at ferris.edu. Or another option for you, if you need to talk about anything with me, is to drop by during my virtual office hours, which I'll be holding on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:15 a.m. to 1:15 p.m. via Zoom. So this is a link to my personal Zoom meeting room. So joining me during those office hours will be as simple as clicking on that link, which you can also find in Canvas. And of course, if these days and times don't work for you, then just let me know, and I'm sure we can find a time that does. Okay, so please don't hesitate to reach out at any point during the semester if you need anything. And like I said, the purpose of this video is to get you acquainted with how the course is organized and how it's going to run, so I'll start diving into that now. Guys, the course is set up in Canvas. That's our learning management system here at Ferris. It's called Canvas. I'd imagine most of you guys are already familiar with Canvas, but here's an easy link to it, just ferris.instructure.com. You can also get to Canvas by logging into MyFSU. And so the course basically runs through Canvas. That's what you'll be using to access course materials, to submit assignments, to take exams, and so on. If you run into any trouble with Canvas, then you'll want to contact our e-learning team here at Ferris. They're the ones who are sort of in charge of Canvas at the university. So their contact information is right here. And as I've said right here in the syllabus, this is what we would call an asynchronous course. Okay, that's the fancy word for it, asynchronous. And guys, what that means is that we won't have scheduled Zoom meetings or anything like that where we meet together as a class. And instead, I will assign you work each week. So you'll have some tasks to complete during every week of the course, and you'll be able to complete those tasks whenever you want on your own schedule, as long as you get them submitted by the time they're due. So that's how the course is set up. It's designed to be asynchronous. Now, the benefit of that is that it gives you a lot of flexibility, right? You can do things when you want to do them. You can work on stuff when it fits into your schedule. But it also means, as I've said down here, that it does require more initiative, more planning, more time management on your part than you might be accustomed to if you've never taken an asynchronous class like this before. So, what I would recommend that you try to do is establish a weekly schedule. Try to set aside some time each week to work on this course specifically, and then try to stick to that schedule, or at least some kind of schedule, throughout the semester. Guys, you definitely don't want to be putting yourself in a situation where you're scrambling to get stuff done every Sunday evening as the week is about to end, and so a schedule will help you avoid that. Now, how much time you need to schedule will vary from student to student, but a good rule of thumb, as I've said right here, is to shoot for about 6 to 8 hours for this course every week. That's a good ballpark figure to start out with. And then, of course, as the semester progresses, you can adjust that number upward or downward as you see fit. Now, as far as what you'll be doing on a week to week basis, there's a pretty standard routine that I think you'll fall into there. So every week begins at 8 o'clock a.m. on a Monday. It ends at 11:59 p.m. on the following Sunday. So every week goes from Monday to Sunday. And during each week, you'll have a reading assignment in the textbook. You'll have a multiple choice quiz to take in Canvas over that reading assignment. You'll have some kind of brief activity to complete, like participating in a discussion board or filling out an online crossword puzzle. And you'll also have some videos to watch. Now, guys, I call those videos video lectures because they're basically my attempt to provide you guys with the same kind of instruction that I would give you in the classroom if this were a traditional face to face course. Now, they're not as long as the lectures that I would give in the face to face version of this course, but during most weeks, you can expect to have anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half's worth of video lectures to watch. And you can obviously break those up and watch them in segments. You don't have to watch them all at once. You can also speed them up if you want to, or go back and watch them again, or parts of them again if you need to. And guys, you're not absolutely required to watch the video lectures. You could skip them, just like you could skip class if this were a face to face class. But I do recommend that you watch them. I think you'll find them helpful. And I especially think that when it comes time to prepare for and take the exams in this course, those of you who chose to watch the video lectures will be glad that you did. I mean, I tend to test you on stuff that I teach about. And so, what I talk about in those video lectures tends to be the stuff that, for the most part, shows up on exams. And so, it is definitely in your best interest to take the time to watch the video lectures that I make available. So, anyway, that is the basic routine for each week. You can count on having some video lectures, a reading assignment, a quiz, and an activity every week. During some weeks, you'll also have an exam to take. So the course is split into 5 units that are each 3 weeks long. So you'll take an exam toward the end of every third week of the course. And during some weeks, you'll also have a writing assignment to submit that'll involve reading and summarizing a scientific journal article about research related to the material. And I'll have a bit more to say about those article summary assignments and about the exams in just a little bit. First, let me tell you about the textbook for the course, which looks like this. So it's called Learning and Behavior. We're using the 7th edition, which was published in 2014, and the author's name is Paul Chance. Now, there's a variety of ways that you can get access to this textbook, okay? There's a loose leaf version, there's a hardcover version. You could also rent or purchase the digital version, the ebook version. And it doesn't really matter which version you get, but the textbook is required for this course, so you are going to want to make sure that you get your hands on the textbook somehow. It is available at the FSU online bookstore, as you can see here, but based on what I've found, you can probably find a better deal elsewhere, such as here at Amazon or here at chegg.com. And there are probably other retailers out there too where you can find the book for cheaper than what it's going for at the bookstore. So I would encourage you to shop around a little bit if you're still in the process of acquiring the textbook. A copy of the textbook is also available as a course reserve at Flight, and so that's another way for you to get access to it, at least for a few hours at a time. Okay, so that's the textbook. Make sure you get a hold of that in one way or another. And then before I go into how the grading is going to work in the course, let me show you how I've got things set up for you in Canvas. This is what it looks like right now. So you've got this Welcome to Psych 370 section at the top, which contains a little welcome message from me. You can find the syllabus in there. There are several other links that you might need to use, like the one to my Zoom room. This can download Adobe Reader for you if you need that to open up the PDFs that I'll be providing. Here's a link to e-learning in case you need to contact them for any reason. And then each unit of the course will also have its own section, and I'll add to that as the unit progresses. So, like I said earlier, the course consists of 5 units that are each 3 weeks long, and so we'll eventually have 5 sections like this, and I'll add the materials for each week as soon as that week begins. So remember, each week begins on a Monday, it ends on a Sunday, and so every Monday you'll have a new weekly quiz to take, a new weekly activity to complete, a new batch of video lectures to watch, maybe a new article summary to work on too, and all of that stuff will be accessible to you in Canvas. And so eventually, the course setup in Canvas will look something like this. This is what it looked like at the end of the semester the last time I taught this course online. And so as you can see, each unit has its own section. The materials for each week are organized within those sections. And so I think it should be a pretty straightforward process for you as far as figuring out what you're responsible for getting done during each week of the course. But as always, if you do find yourself with questions about what you're supposed to be doing, then please reach out with an email or a visit to my office hours, and I'm sure we can get things cleared up for you. Okay, now let's get back over to the syllabus so that I can talk about how I'm going to determine your grade in the course. Guys, this is a 600-point class, okay? In total, there are 600 points possible in this course, and the biggest chunk of that is going to come from how you do on the exams. So like I said before, you'll take an exam during each of the 5 units of the course. So you'll be taking an exam online in Canvas during every third week of the course, plus one more during exam week if you choose to take the final. And each one of those exams is worth 60 points. Every exam, including the final exam, is worth 60 points. All of the exams are multiple choice. They each consist entirely of multiple choice questions for you to answer. I will provide you with a study guide for each exam, which I highly recommend that you utilize. So here is where you can find the study guide for the Unit 1 exam coming up in a few weeks. Each exam will only be available during a limited time, so you'll need to make sure that you take the exam while it's available. And all of the exams are going to require the use of a special web browser called Lockdown Browser. Now, if you've never used Lockdown Browser before, it's basically just there to help prevent cheating on online exams. And the way it works is it does sort of lock down your computer or your iPad so that you can't search the web, you can't take screenshots, you can't use other applications, you can't print, and so on while you're taking the exam. And so that's important, obviously. I mean, we want to make sure that everyone's on a level playing field here, right? And so I do require a lockdown browser for the exams in this course because it helps ensure fairness. Now, the device that you use to take the exams will also need to be equipped with a webcam because the software is going to want to record video of you while you take the exam. And so if you don't have a webcam, then as I've said here, you are going to need to borrow or purchase one for the exams in this course. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy, okay? If you have a built-in webcam on your device, like I do, then that'll be fine. Or if you do wind up needing to purchase a webcam, then you definitely don't need to break the bank on that, okay? The cheaper models, like the ones in the $20 to $30 range, should be more than adequate for the purpose of taking exams with lockdown in this course. Okay. So anyway, if you don't have Lockdown Browser on the device that you plan to use, then you can download and install it for free. There's a link to do that right here in the syllabus. The same link is also available here in the Welcome to Psych 370 section of Canvas. And if you run into any trouble with Lockdown Browser, then please let me know so that we can find a solution or we can figure out another way for you to take the exams in this course. And in fact, guys, you should know pretty early on whether you're good to go with lockdown or not, because the first weekly quiz in the course is also set up to require lockdown. So that'll be a sort of trial run for you with Lockdown Browser. And if you're able to take this first quiz without any issues, then you should be able to take the exams in the same way. Okay, so do make sure that you're all set up with lockdown. The exams in this course are all closed book and closed notes, so they do require the use of Lockdown Browser. And a total of 6 exams will be offered in the course. That's 5 unit exams, which are not comprehensive, and a final exam, which is comprehensive. So the final exam will cover material from the entire semester. So 6 exams will be offered, but like I've said here in the syllabus, only your best 5 scores will actually count toward your overall course grade. So in other words, your lowest exam score out of the 6 that I offer is going to get dropped. It's not going to count in the grade book. So you do have a dropped exam to work with. 6 exams are offered, but I only count your best 5. And guys, I do this in pretty much all of the classes that I teach, and I like it for several reasons. For one thing, it puts less pressure on you for each individual exam, right? Because you know that if you don't do as well as you had hoped on it, you can recover from that. That could wind up being your dropped exam. For another thing, it gives us a straightforward way to handle missed exams, which is that for the most part, if you miss an exam and you haven't made arrangements with me about it beforehand, then that's going to need to be your dropped exam. Okay, so if you do miss an exam, then you're going to need to make sure that you take all of the other exams in the course so that you still wind up with those 5 exam scores in the grade book. And for yet another thing, this policy of dropping your lowest exam score makes it so that the final exam is optional in a sense. So in other words, if you take all 5 unit exams and you do pretty well on them, if you're content with how you did on those 5 unit exams, then you can skip the final exam. You don't have to take it. You can skip it, you can take a score of 0 on it, but that 0 will get dropped anyway, right? Since it'll be your lowest score, and so your overall grade in the course will not be affected. Now, of course, you still can take the final exam, and it could wind up helping you. So if you take the final exam and you do better on it than you did on your worst unit exam, then that's good for you because the higher final exam score will replace that lower unit exam score in the grade book, and so your course grade will go up. Or if you get a lower score in the final than you got in your worst unit exam, then it'll be the final exam score that gets dropped. So it'll be like you never even took that final exam, and your grade in the course will just stay the same. So there's no real risk in taking the final exam. Okay, you can't really hurt your grade in the course by taking the final exam. You can only help your grade by taking it, but you don't necessarily have to take the final exam if you don't want to. Okay, well, I hope that all makes sense. Again, please let me know if it doesn't. But anyway, again, 6 exams are offered in the course. Your 5 best scores are the only ones that count in the grade book. Each of those 5 exam scores will be out of 60 points possible, and so overall, 300 points are available in the course through the exams. Next, the second biggest chunk of your grade is going to come from those weekly quizzes that I mentioned earlier. So obviously, you're going to take one of these every week. It'll become available when the week begins on Monday. It'll be due the following Sunday. And since each quiz is worth 10 points, and since there are 15 weeks in the semester, the weekly quizzes are worth a total of 150 points toward your final grade in the course. Now, the quizzes are open book and open notes. Okay, so feel free to use the textbook, feel free to use your notes on the quizzes. And there are also no time limits for the quizzes. So, with one important exception, the quizzes do not require the use of Lockdown Browser. The exams do. For the exams, Lockdown Browser is required, but for most of the weekly quizzes, you can use whatever browser you want. Chrome, Safari, Firefox, whichever one you prefer. The one exception to that, like I mentioned a minute ago, is the first weekly quiz in the course, which is over the syllabus. So it has 10 multiple choice questions in it about the information that I've provided in this course syllabus. And for that quiz, you do need to use Lockdown Browser. It's still open book. The syllabus quiz is still an open book quiz. You can have the syllabus open as you're answering those questions on the quiz. That's totally fine. But I do want you to use Lockdown for that one, just so we can do a sort of trial run with it, like I said before, and make sure everybody's good to go with Lockdown before we get to that first exam. So like I said before, you can download and install Lockdown Browser for free. There are links in the syllabus and in Canvas that you can use to do that. But if you do run into any issues with Lockdown, then please let me know so we can get that stuff ironed out before the first exam. So anyway, you don't have to use Lockdown Browser for most of the weekly quizzes, just this first one. The weekly quizzes are always open book and open notes, and they're always due by 11:59 p.m. on a Sunday because, again, the week always ends on a Sunday. Next, in addition to the weekly quizzes, you're also going to have what I'm calling a weekly activity to complete every week, and each one of those activities is going to be worth 5 points. So these are pretty low stakes. They don't usually take very long. Students usually find them pretty easy. And so as long as you're keeping up with the course and getting those activities submitted on time, they should wind up helping you out a little bit grade-wise. Now, there's a variety of weekly activities that I will assign during the course, and I'll provide you guys with details about each one as the week begins. But some of the more common activities include what I call terminology crosswords, which are crossword puzzles based on the terminology that we've covered. You can complete those online. So here's what the first one of those looks like. You'll be completing this crossword as your weekly activity for week 3. And then there are also discussion board forums where I will give you a prompt. You'll post a response to that prompt, and then you'll also reply to at least one of your classmates' posts too. So the discussion boards are kind of nice in an online class because they allow you to get at least some of that student-to-student interaction that you would normally get in a face-to-face class. And in fact, the weekly activity for this first week of the course is a discussion board where I'm just asking you to give a quick self-introduction so we can start getting to know each other a little bit. Here is the link to that first weekly activity. It's a discussion board. And now the way this discussion board works, and the way all of the discussion boards in the course are going to work, is you'll need to submit your initial post by the end of the day on Thursday. So in this case, your self-introduction is due by 11:59 p.m. on Thursday, January 12th. And then by the end of the week, so by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, you'll need to reply to at least one of your classmates' posts. So, guys, it's a two-part process to earn the 5 weekly activity points when the weekly activity is a discussion board. Okay, you've got the initial post due by Thursday, and then at least one reply due by Sunday. Now, you don't have to wait until after Thursday to submit your reply. You can do that whenever, but please do make sure that you submit at least one reply in addition to your initial post to get full credit for the discussion board. And guys, you should also know that before you can see anyone else's posts in a discussion board, you got to submit your own first. So if you go to the discussion board and it looks like this, it looks like no one has participated yet, it could just be that you haven't submitted your own post yet. Once you do, everyone else's submissions will then become visible. Okay? So, anyway, weekly activities will be assigned every week. They're worth 5 points apiece. So, do make sure to stay on top of those so that you're not missing out on easy points. Okay, so you've got the exams, the weekly quizzes, the weekly activities, and then the last major component of your grade is going to come in the form of article summaries. So I will be assigning a total of 5 research articles for you to summarize throughout the semester, and each one of those summaries is going to be worth up to 15 points. Okay. For each one of those assignments, I will provide you with the article itself as a PDF in Canvas, and I will also give you a few questions that you should answer or topics that you should touch on in your summary. So, for example, one of your article summaries might look like this. So, here's that list of questions that you should make sure that you address, and then after that is the article itself. Yep. So, you can expect to get more details like this about each article summary as it's assigned. I do expect you to type your article summaries, okay? They should be double spaced. They shouldn't be more than 2 pages long because these articles aren't that long in the first place, and you're supposed to be summarizing them. And you're going to submit them in Canvas. Okay, so please don't email me with your article summaries. I will make links available in Canvas for you to upload your article summaries or copy and paste them in or whatever you want to do. So I will call your attention to it whenever I've assigned a new article summary. And guys, you'll always have 2 weeks to complete each article summary because it won't be due until the end of the week after it was first assigned. So, for example, I'll make your first article summary assignment available at the beginning of week 3. So you'll be able to access that as early as Monday, January 23rd. That's when week 3 begins. But that article summary won't be due until the end of week 4. So you'll have until the end of the day on Sunday, February 5th to get that article summary submitted. Okay? So you'll always have a 2 week window for each article summary. And anyway, that's how the article summaries are going to work. And like I said before, I will give you more specific details about each one of these things as we come to them during the course. Okay, well, that's about all there is to it as far as the grading goes in this course. I do accept late work, like it says here, not late exams, of course, but you can turn the other stuff in late, like the weekly quizzes, the weekly activities, the article summaries. Just keep in mind that there is a 20% per day reduction in score for late work. So if you do miss a deadline, then the sooner you get that work submitted, the better off you'll be, the fewer points you'll lose. And here at the top of page 4 of the syllabus is the grading scale that I'll be using to determine your final grade in the course at the end of the semester. So like I said before, it's a 600-point course overall. So the exams, the quizzes, the weekly activities, the article summaries, they all add up to a total of 600 points possible. And so as the semester progresses, if you're ever curious about how many more points you need for an A, how many you would need for a C, how many you would need to pass, and so on, just consult this table and that'll help you figure it out. Okay, well, I don't think there's much more ground that needs to be covered during this introductory video. This stuff about academic misconduct mostly goes without saying. Obviously, I expect the work you submit to be your own work. I do take plagiarism and cheating very seriously. If you have any sort of special need that's going to require accommodations, then of course I'd be happy to explore those accommodations with you. But you will need to get in touch if you haven't already with the Educational Counseling and Disability Services Office. So I've given you their contact information here if you need it. So please do contact them if you need any accommodations to participate in this course. Here on pages 5 and 6 of the syllabus is where you can find a tentative schedule for the course. Again, it's broken down into 5 units that are each 3 weeks long. So, this is where you can find a list of all of your reading assignments, when each exam is going to take place, stuff like that. And then on the last few pages of the syllabus here, you can find the official syllabus attachments that are provided to us by the College of Arts and Sciences and by the university itself. So I'm not going to go through those documents with you, but they're useful resources. Lots of good information in here, phone numbers, important dates, and so on, and those attachments. And so I would encourage you to look through this stuff when you get a chance. Okay. Well, with that, I will remind you to get those tasks for week 1 taken care of by the end of the day on Sunday. Here is a complete list of all of the week 1 tasks as available as this week 1 task list in Canvas. And again, if you do find yourself with questions or concerns about the course, then please feel free to reach out with an email or by visiting my Zoom room during my office hours. And remember that you can always find my email address, my office hours, and the link to my Zoom room right here at the top of the syllabus. Okay, well, that's it. So before I sign off here, I'll just say that I hope you guys have a great week. I hope your classes all get off to a good start, and I look forward to a great semester of working together. Take care, guys.